What are the creepiest urban legends from every state? This is part 4, from Cropsey, the Monster of Staten Island, to the Devil's Footprints in Rhode Island. Let's talk about them. What's going down, Mouse Nation? Today is part 4 of a 5-part series where we'll be discussing the creepiest urban legends from every state. Give us a shout out when your state comes up and let us know what your favorite urban legend is in the comments below. All of these just might creep you out, so sit back, turn out the lights, and let's get started. New Mexico, La Mala Hora. Alright, so this is a Mexican urban legend. But many on our side of the border in New Mexico have also heard of those who've fallen victim to La Mala Hora, also known as La Malora, La Malorga, or in English, the evil hour, or the evil one. And what makes this so creepy is the fact that it's a demon, and it can take shape of your greatest fears, and it'll only face you on the darkest of nights, when you're all alone on the emptiest of roads. And many see it as pure darkness, and anyone who crosses its evil path will be paralyzed with fear, hypnotized by their own darkness, and driven to insanity, only to be found abandoned, lifeless. Others see her as a female spirit on the side of the road, and if you see her, either you or someone in your family will die. So if you see a woman on the side of a lonely road, do yourself a favor. Keep driving. New York, Cropsey. New York is known for a lot of things, and its reputation in horror is no different. The legend of Staten Island's boogeyman has been told around many a campfire for decades. His name, Cropsey, a psychotic, axe-wielding, or in some versions, hook-hand-having monster of a man who escaped a nearby mental institution and now lives beneath the abandoned Willowbrook State School, searching for his favorite victims, children. And what makes this even more disturbing is the fact that it eventually would come true, in the form of former Willowbrook State employee Andre Rand. He'd go on to kidnap many children, including 11 that he kidnapped from the YMCA and took to Newark Liberty Airport. It was believed that he was involved in Satanism and would offer the children as sacrifice. North Carolina, the Beast of BLADENBORO. Next, we head to North Carolina, to a small town of BLADENBORO, deep within the forest and surrounded by swamp. In the time between 1953 and 1954, a sudden string of animal deaths would plague the community, with the animals not only being bled out, but decapitated. Most of the animals were dogs, but rabbits, goats, cows, and pigs were also found mutilated. And the creature that supposedly committed these atrocities was described by eyewitnesses as about 4.5 feet long, about 150 pounds, long tail, dark fur, with the body of a bear and the face of a cat. A young boy who encountered the creature stated that it mimicked the cry of a baby. Hundreds of hunters throughout the area would head to BLADENBORO in search of the creature. Eventually, a small bobcat was trapped, but others speculated that it could have been a coyote or cougar as well. The truth is that no one really knows what creature made its home in BLADENBORO that year, but its legacy and legend live on. North Dakota, the gates of hell. Have you ever found yourself wondering if there really is a hell? Then you might want to head over to the abandoned town of Tagus, North Dakota, one of many ghost towns in the area. The town has an assortment of homes and businesses that were left to rot, but there is a church that's said to have had a change in denomination. Yes, this once Lutheran church would become a place to worship Satan himself. Why? Glad you asked. Because these followers of Lucifer were drawn to the very darkness found within its walls. That darkness coming from the stairway of hell, directly beneath the church. Eventually the church would be burned down, and the path to hell would be covered as well. But legend states that if you stand in just the right spot near the church's ruins, you can still hear the screams of pain and agony of those damned to hell. Still, there are other things to fear in the area, from ghost trains and opportunistic entities to hellhounds and glowing gravestones. But what I would fear the most would probably be the still living residents of the once thriving town, ready to hunt down any outsider who dares enter their once thriving town. Ohio, the Melon Heads. There are multiple versions of the Melon Heads, from Ohio, which we'll be focusing on today, to Michigan, and even Connecticut. All of the versions involve similar creatures. Small humanoids with bulbous heads, deformed extremities, sharp teeth, and terrifying red eyes. A man known only as Dr. Crow lived in a secluded home on Wisner Road in Kirkland, Ohio. He and his wife had a child who suffered from hydrocephalus, which caused fluids to fill his brain. The so-called doctor would begin to abduct children from throughout the area, usually orphans and homeless, to begin experimenting ways to either cure his child or get some sort of sick revenge for what happened to him. And he would inject water into the skulls of these poor children. As these children grew older, they began to go mad, wanting revenge on their father. Freeing themselves, they burned down Crow's home and made their home in the woods outside of Kirkland. They would eventually breed together and have children, multiplying their numbers. They would steal pets and farm animals, even children, to feed themselves. To this day, many head down Wisner Road for a chance to have a sight of the Melon Heads. Would you? Let us know in the comments below. Oklahoma, the Shaman's Portal. We've all heard of the Bermuda Triangle, but did you know that Oklahoma has its very own version in the 300-acre Beaver Dunes Park in its panhandle, mainly made up of sandhills? There have been disappearances and paranormal activity dated as far back as the 1500s. Back then, explorers traveling with the famed Coronado would disappear along with green flashes of light. The natives had warned the Spaniards to avoid the dunes, but of course, they didn't listen. They were the first of many to go missing. It's also been said that men in black and military personnel have been digging in beneath the dunes in the middle of the night. There have also been UFO sightings, and still others say it's a portal to another dimension. Sounds like something straight out of the Twilight Zone. Oregon, the Bandage Man of Cannon Beach. This urban legend has been circulating campfires since the 1960s. And like many a ghost, the Bandage Man loves to harass teenagers as they hang out in popular makeout spots. A severely disfigured, rotting and bloody man, wrapped in bandages, coming from nowhere, beating on vehicle windows until the couples escape, or don't. Still others say that he can be found in bars, forests, at the beach, or anywhere along Highway 101 near Cannon Beach. He even ate a dog once, maybe. Many from the area believe him to be a logger who passed away as he worked in the area, getting chopped up and taken away in an ambulance, all bandaged up, when the ambulance was suddenly knocked off the road by a landslide. Once a rescue team came to save everyone, he was already gone. And while this one may not be the creepiest, imagine being alone in your car at night, when suddenly you smell rotting flesh and a bloodied bandaged face presses up against your window. Yep, I thought so. Pennsylvania, the bus to nowhere. Ever want to get away? Ever feel like you're drowning in hopelessness and despair? Then I have a story for you about a bus that will stop for only those who are at the lowest points of their lives and simply want an escape from all their pain. This bus belongs to SEPTA, the Southeastern Pennsylvania Transportation Authority. Only this bus has no destination and no route. It's simply known as Route Zero. Others gave it the name the bus to nowhere, or even the wandering bus. And this bus has no stop. You must prove to it that you truly want to escape. If it appears to you, you'll have to desperately chase it until the bus driver deems you unworthy enough to enter. And all the passengers are just like you, hopeless, with no self-worth. But if you do eventually have the strength to pull the cord for the bus to stop, you'll have no memory of ever being on it. Minutes, days, months, or even years may have passed, but it would have felt instant to you. You won't remember the passengers or even the driver, but you'll be exactly where you need to be. Rhode Island, the Devil's Footprints. Located in North Kingston, Rhode Island, you can find evidence that the devil truly did make his way to our plane of existence. His footprints imprinted into granite. This legend states that a Native American woman took the life of a white man in the area. As she ran, she would run into an English nobleman with a stern look upon his face. He asks her to go on a walk with him. She tells him no, but as she tries to run away, she can't escape his grasp. She cries for Hobomoko to save her. And then the nobleman reveals that he is Hobomoko, which is what her people call the devil. He runs off with her, taking a few steps, first a human foot, then a cloven foot, taking her into Purgatory Chasm, never to be seen again. South Carolina, Boo Hags. Now we head down south, where the Boo Hag roams, a vampiric, skinless evil spirit that's bright red in color with bulging blue veins. They're sneaky, as they have to be, since their main source of power is using the energy of those who are living. They'll usually search for their next victim by going out in public wearing the skin of their last one. Slightly open windows, door holes, cracks in the walls. Once inside, they'll sit upon your chest as you lay sleeping and steal the breath right from your mouth, leaving you extremely tired the next morning. Even more terrifying is if you wake up as she rides you, you'll be paralyzed by fear and her dark energy, face to face with the creature. So if the air becomes hot and damp and you smell rotting flesh in your room, maybe sleep somewhere else, or you too may become the next victim of the Boo Hag. Thank you guys so much for joining us for another episode of The Creepiest with me, your host Morty Mouse. Are you brave enough to face any of these urban legends? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you later, or I'll see you on the other side.